Then all of a sudden I feel this bit of a pain in my chest. I was like, this is weird, what's happening here? Instead of getting better, it was feeling worse and worse, and shit, I'm having a heart attack. And all of a sudden I go blue, beep, lights out. And the next moment it's all black. And I'm like, shit, this is weird, why is it all black? I can't see anything. I saw my wife before when I was in the hospital, now it's pitch black. And there's a little dot in front of my face. I'm like, shit, I need to get out. I need to get in here. So I remember, it's clear as day, I'll take this to my grave and I'll put my fingers in this hole and I just muscle out like an elevator. I'm like, everything I can do to get through. The next thing I remember, I'm looking into the eyes of the guy on the chest and I'm like, wow.
What a lad, what a lad, what a lad, what an absolute lad.
Oh, what a lad. Well, when you talk about the biggest lads to ever play the game, it isn't always the 100-game All Blacks. Sometimes it is an absolute battler who, after 10 years of playing NPC for firstly Canterbury and then the mighty Taranaki, he finally got his first cap of Super Rugby for the Hurricanes to become the oldest debutant for the club. He's also had a very eventful life, which includes starring in a reality TV show, becoming a CEO, and even surviving a heart attack. Lads do not come much bigger than this lad I have on here today. He can tell a hell of a yarn. It is, of course, Laurence Corlett. Welcome, mate.
Oh, great to be here, Jimmy, mate. Excited.
You have lived a very eventful life, even going through your journey over the last few days. You've done a lot in it.
Yeah, it's been 45 years of exciting stuff. Yeah, love it. Got a great life, been enjoyable, and plenty more to come as well.
And lots to chat through on this. You're like it's a perfect combination for a podcast, to be fair. It's like lots of events, a good storyteller, and an absolute battler.
Absolutely, and I take that. Yeah, I am. I love my rugby and I love my sport, and the people you meet. That's really the best part of it all. So.
Yeah, you quite enjoy the battler tag, though, don't you?
I embrace it.
Yeah,
I am. Yeah, I wasn't blessed with many things, but yeah, a bit of ticker and a bit of heart, and goes a long way.
Yeah, it sure does. And I guess one story that I always love about you was how you got your Super Rugby debut cap. Like, you tried for a long time. You were in the fringe for many years, and how you got your Hurricanes debut was pretty cool. You want to tell that story?
Well, as other battlers would know, you're what a training group, and you're training hard, and you're doing everything, and they've increased the contracted squads and stuff, and so made the Hurricanes in 2011. Training, as you do, you got two absolute legends as Andrew Hoare and Dane Coles. They never got injured.
Yeah.
They just kept playing week in, week out. And then coming up to the last game of the season, all of a sudden Dane Coles comes up, hey, I think it's right if you get a cap in the last game. So he went up to Mark Hammett and said, I'm not going to play. I want to stand down and let Frank get a cap. And that's massive because he hadn't been in the All Blacks yet.
Yeah.
And so he would have ended up on 140, 150 games instead of one less than he did. So.
What a lad he is.
Oh, he's a great human being. Like a great, fantastic. Played against him when he was an 18-year-old for two Copper versus Taranaki as a young man, and he was a fantastic rugby player then, and even just got better and better and better.
It's so cool. And then you get your moment. You get your moment on the big stage. How old were you? 33,
I think.
33, yeah.
Yep.
On debut.
Yep, 10 years. I played for Canterbury in 2001. And then
yeah.
I made a debut 10 years later. So it's pretty crazy. I kept on dreaming, kept on chasing the dream. And I love rugby. I played for the fun of it, not so much to, make rep teams or anything. You play because you're playing with your mates. So it's just a great opportunity and loved it. 7 minutes of Super Rugby.
Was it only 7 minutes? Oh, I thought it was a bit longer. Surely they're giving a bit more of a run.
And I got penalised.
Oh, that's right. Chrono used to love playing that clip.
Yes. Every time I see Chrono, I said it's a 7 minutes, it's the best 7 minutes ever seen of Super Rugby. Number 16, release the ball. No.
This was your moment. Not releasing that ball no matter what he says.
Yeah, smash Brad Thorne.
You mentioned your nickname, Frank, during that too as well. How did you get that nickname? And how do you refer to yourself as Frank still?
I do. Yeah, Frank through life, I've seemed to be the ability to get nicknames.
Yeah.
Over the years for some reason. So Frank was a name given to me by Andrew Hoare, actually. We were having a bit of a court session, as you do, in the Taranaki rugby team, and I was on the bus, sitting down in front of everyone, and I'd had to consume a beer, and I smashed it back, and Andrew Hoare just started saying, Frank the Tank, and then everyone else started going, Frank the Tank, and it just kind of stuck. And so, and it's still known, and people don't even know my real name, and they call me Frank. They think it's my real name. And before that, it was down Christchurch. It was Goldie or Goldberg was my nickname. That was for a long period. And then when I was at school up in Northland, it was Schoolboy.
How'd you get that one?
Well,
Just
we went from Inglewood, sort of predominantly rural school, and went up to Mighty Kaikoui in the far north, and predominantly 80% Māori boys. And so I turned up in my school uniform and with a school lunch. And all the boys, schoolboy got your school lunch and everything else like that. And I turned up, we had PE, so a few weeks later, probably the first week I was up there, turned up to PE, and I've got my PE uniform on. So I put it on and walk out into the gym, only one with a PE uniform on. Every other kid, one kid they didn't even know they had a PE uniform. So there I am, rocking a full PE uniform, the only kid there. Everyone else was a mufti. Brilliant.
How good's that? So where'd you come from? Segues quite nicely into your upbringing, really.
Yeah, born and bred Taranaki.
Yeah.
Parents had a dairy farm out in the hills of Rarapico. Old Murray and Barb's, great names. Murray, dairy farmer, mum was also a dairy farmer plus a nurse at the local Stratford Hospital. And we had four in the family, and
For what were the siblings?
I had an older brother. I got an older brother, a sister, and I did have a younger brother who passed away about 10 years ago.
Yeah. That's sad.
It's sad, yeah.
We will get to that at some point through the journey. But growing up, obviously parents super busy.
Yep.
What were you like as a kid?
Oh, just all my school reports just say I love to talk. Controlling my energy was always an issue when I was growing up. I was plenty of noise, just full noise into everything. So I was always on the farm, not really trying not to do any farm work at all, but just up to mischief, up to, just doing stuff, riding motorbikes and slides behind the motorbike, and just being a real tutu around the farm and just getting up to mischief and all sorts of stuff like that. And so, because Dad, he was busy on the farm, Mum was on as a nurse, night shift, never home. So it was awesome fun. Brilliant.
From what age? What age are you free range there?
Oh, from probably about 4 or 5.
Oh, wow. You're just into
up to mischief. If you're brought up in a farm in the 80s, it was great times. Yeah. And we had goat, you'd do a bit of shooting, bit of hunting, bit of fishing, bit of eeling and that sort of things.
So you're off shooting as a 4-year-old.
Oh,
That is
maybe
good stuff.
Maybe with Dad with the rifle shooting sort of goats and stuff on the farm and that sort of things.
Oh man, that is. And then you move up. What age do you move up the north?
Oh, we moved to 1993. Actually, we went to Inglewood High for a term, and the parents decided to go to the far north. They actually looked at the farms down in Gore.
Oh yeah.
In 92, and it started snowing and it was quite cold.
So it was either the top or the bottom.
Yeah, and so they ended up moving to the Hokianga in Northland. And that was awesome. If you go over the Brynderwins, it just feels like it's a spiritual home.
Yeah.
You go over the top of the hill, you look around over north, and it just feels awesome. I love the place.
What age were you at this point?
So I was 13. First, one term into third form.
Oh, yeah.
Or year, what is it now, 9.
Yeah. And how hard was that move for you? Obviously, you're turning up in your uniform and stuff, but it must have been pretty tough at that age.
It was interesting because I remember sitting in front of me and my sister, she was 15 or fifth form, sitting there, and you saw the whole school, we were parked up the assembly. And all the kids, half the kids walked right past you. Everyone's just sort of, who's this guy?
Yeah.
And lucky I played rugby. And I think, so turned up, you're in there in the classroom, go out and you play a bit of rugby, and straight away, who's this boy? And you got to went out there and I started putting hits and smashing people, just throwing myself around and just giving it what I do. And you gain a bit of respect pretty quickly. You put a couple of shots on, and this tubby, solid white boy from Taranaki knows what he was on about. And it was funny because down there I remember saying, I'm from Taranaki, as you do at the time, and the pronunciation wasn't the best, and they just took the piss out of you. You're from Taranaki, mate, or Taranaki. So it was awesome. Well, it was a humble sort of place, Decile 1, pretty tough, but just good people. Didn't have much, but people were just so friendly, and even go up there now, you bump into your old mates. It's awesome.
Were you good at rugby at this point, or did you learn to win collisions by earning respect? You just knew you had to.
Well, there was times, at school you're playing, and it's the year 9s or the third form, 7th form, and it's all start off with a touch, bit of hold, and then all of a sudden someone puts a shot in, and the kids slowly drop out, and I was there, still playing right to the end. Yeah. Because I loved it. So no, I was always sort of a hearty sort of kid, and just carried hard into the contact and liked bashing bodies, and he wasn't the most fancy or flash sort of player, but I liked the physical contact of rugby. So as I grew, I just got a bit stronger and got in the gym and just carried hard, not much finesse or anything, but just plenty of heart. And
Was it always a dream to play professional rugby?
yeah, it probably was actually. I first rep team was for 1995 under 16s, and played hooker and prop. And yeah,
Northland under 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They'd been North Auckland the year before, and they changed to Northland. So just chasing the dream. I always wanted to, Super Rugby came in '96, and you thought it could be a chance, and just keep working hard and see what happens.
Yeah.
So didn't write it down, had a big plan or anything. Just
Nah.
played rugby, so I love playing rugby.
Were you training towards it at all, or
Yep.
nah?
I joined the gym and
Yeah.
got into the gym quite early, as 15, 16, with my mate Leroy Dixon, and we just go to the gym and just
Push tin.
push tin at the local gym. It was fun. Good.
Yeah. So how did you end up down in Canterbury?
Yeah, so I went to Northland College from about 93, 96, 97. Then I had I went a good old scholarship to King's College in Auckland.
Oh, did you? Your last year?
Yeah, well, I did another year, which my wife reminds me and everyone she can that I was returned seventh form, and my kids were at school with me. But so I went to King's for a year, and that was awesome because I kind of mucked around in Northland College. Actually, I got accepted into grammar in my sixth form, so I could have gone to grammar sixth, seventh. But
So you must have been good.
oh, handy, just
Yeah.
honest, just
Yeah.
just tough. I think.
Yeah.
Self-proclaimed. But
Quote.
quite unquote.
Toughest man to play the game.
No, I didn't have much skill, so I had to have something. But so I could have got. My parents said, "Oh, you keen to go at grammar?" And I was like, "Oh, not really."
Yeah.
So I kind of regret it, but got to go to King's in my second year, seventh, and that was awesome. Learn how to study and get into university and that
Yeah.
sort of thing. So I went down to Canterbury in 1999
Oh, yeah.
in the halls and stuff.
So just in chasing uni, or were you scouted in academy?
No, uni. I was there for university, so I was sort of in the halls, and had big ideas of doing law and all that sort of stuff.
What did you do?
I had economics degree in
Oh,
the
did you?
Bachelor
Yeah.
of Commerce. Took me a little while because I was everything else, but I changed a couple of times during the years I was there because I wasn't doing so well.
Yeah. Was this because footy was taking over, or this was just because you?
Yeah,
were-
because I played Colts the first year. Then halfway through the year, I got had a meeting with old Steve Hansen.
What was his role at the time?
He was. I think he was the academy manager involved in other
Was
coaching
he?
and stuff.
Oh,
He was.
yeah.
I think this is a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember I played a season of Colts rugby, and I made Canterbury Colts got called in halfway through the season. And end of the season, had gone down, and they said, "Oh, Steve Hansen." I don't know who Steve Hansen was. Jesus. And then I sat down with him at his place on wherever it was, and it was the night before the Under 500. Under 500, massive. Used to go and buy a car for $500 and drive down to Dunedin.
Yeah.
And we all got these really terrible haircuts, the worst haircuts you got. So I got like a Mr. T, a T put into my head.
Oh, yeah.
So shaven T down to side ease, and so I pour a beanie on. I go on, so it's hot day, and I'm sitting down with Steve Hansen with a beanie on, and it's so ridiculous because who would? And we're yarning away, and it's like 20 minutes into the conversation. I said, "Hell, this is so ridiculous." So I said, "Oh, I'm off to a 21st," and I took my hat off, and he just looked at me like, "What have we? What are we up to? This guy's coming." So yeah.
Where did you get to with that? What did he sign you, or
Well,
did
yeah,
you go into the academy?
I was in the academy, yep.
Oh, you did?
Yep. We had Andrew Hoare also, he was involved. I think the next year, the CEO from Blues.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he was in
Oh,
there.
true.
He was busy, man. He did the academy trainer, academy manager, NPC stuff, I think.
Yeah.
So I was in the academy for a couple of years. He had some pretty good players in there. Richard McCaw, I think, may have been involved, and Marty Veal and a few other. Canterbury's got such a production line,
Yeah.
and you come through, and then the next off the ranks and stuff. So it was a great time. I enjoyed training, so I was training hard. And I remember the time I had no car the first, so to bike off to the gym, and you're lifting weights, and you go back home. And
Yeah.
After school, it was a good time actually to be when you're young, you're keen, and you do everything you can to make it.
Yeah. Keen as. And then you make Canterbury at some point. How long does it take you before you make Canterbury? Quite a while.
2001.
Yeah.
So down
You're good with dates.
Yeah,
You're a dates man.
a little bit. Yeah, 2001 because we played the first two games. We played against Buller
Oh, yeah.
over on the West Coast, and it was Brad Thorne's first rugby game.
Was it?
Yeah, big Brad Thorne.
He was in behind you.
Yeah, the big rig, and humble human being actually. And funny enough, because he was there, I think his wife might have been back in Aussie, and so my wife said, partner at the time said, invite him around for a meal. Oh yeah, Brad Thorne. Why not? He's superstar Aussie League and all that, but you'd love to come around to a flat for a feed. Why not? So I asked him, and he goes, yeah, I'll come around. I said, anything you don't eat? And he goes, no, I eat everything. No worries at all. I said, okay, sweet. So talking to Paul, he goes, eats anything. She was a vegetarian at the time, and so they made. This is so ridiculous. They made like 3 or 4 massive big helpings of pumpkin lasagna. Why didn't we cook him a steak or a meat or whatever? And he turns up, doesn't like pumpkin, and that's all we had. So he's sitting there, and he it was.
Did he pretend to eat it or no?
I think he played around with it. And he tried it, and he's such a big human being, and he's sitting there. I'm like, geez, all league great, and he's not even eating his.
Were you on the squad at this time?
I was in. It was funny because that's when the All Blacks. So we had the team was amazing. It had who was in that team? It was when Todd Blackadder was playing and all sorts of stuff, and then the All Blacks come back in. So the All Blacks played NPC back in those days. So the team was pretty stacked, and then so I played the first 2 games, and they picked the NPC squad because it was a Ranfurly Shield defence. We had the Ranfurly Shield.
Oh, yeah.
And those were the good old days. I don't think we got money for that. We used to get a Ranfurly Shield defence bonus as well.
If you defended it.
You'd get $750 plus a $700, I think, for a Ranfurly Shield defence. So the next year when I was in the NPC squad, I was getting like $1,550 in the hand after a defence.
Yeah.
I thought, when I was
living
a student,
the dream.
I'd made it.
So how old are you at this point? You said 2001.
So I was 22.
22. Oh,
yeah. And then so in there were a couple of games, and then they went for Tony Kopolani ended up making the full Canterbury squad.
Oh, yeah.
Because me and him were 2 young hookers, and he was changing from 7, and I was sort of a number 8 going through school.
Oh,
number 8, short, typical number 8.
Yeah.
Didn't grow, so we ended up in the front row. So I was up against Tony Kopolani. He made the 2021 side. They went on to win I think they won it that year. Next year, I made the team, and then the following year, that was me done.
True. Who was in front of you? Mark Hammett at the time?
Mark Hammett and Matt Sexton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Radda. Great guy. Yeah, Radda was really good. He really looked after you and Mark Hammett was in the All Blacks. So, Radda was a great guy. Great. Said some really nice stuff. And the hookers are a funny breed. They don't see you as a threat you bring in, they try and get you better.
Yeah.
And Radda was awesome.
Was Hammer like that as well, or not?
No, he was sort of with the All Blacks, so it's a little bit more removed.
Oh, yeah.
Because in 2002, I remember coming off the bench, and then it was a whole forward pack of All Blacks. Greg Somerville, Greg Feek, you had Mark Hammett starting, then you had Chris Jack, and you had Norm Maxwell and Richie Razor Robinson, and you had just Mertz, Marshall, just All Blacks for Africa. Yeah. And then this little battler.
Frank the Tank, right?
Yeah, trying to get in the mix. And then Corey Flynn got brought up in 2000, a good family friend of my wife's, and he came up at the end of 2002, so the writing was on the wall. And
did you know that straight away?
Oh, yeah, you kind of pick it. I hadn't played. My first game was probably the worst game I ever played. My first NPC game was probably one of the worst games I've played. We played against Wellington. Same debut, Daniel Carter on debut. Oh. Manonu from Wellington. Oh. John Olomu was playing for Wellington.
Oh, right.
And
3 legends on debut.
Oh, yeah, it was crazy. And it was NPC Friday night first game, and that's when there was maybe 15,000, 20,000 people. Like NPC was Super Rugby was pretty rocking it, and those, and we'd played this was 2002, so we played 2 pre-season games against East Coast and some other second division team, and won by 30. And our line had gone really well. Then we played old Luke Andrews' Shadow.
Oh, yeah.
And that man, I think by half time, we'd won 1 line out of 10. And I'm in pieces. I have just jet the bed, to be honest. And I got subbed out 10 minutes after, and I walk off, and I think my wife reckons I had tears in my eyes. I don't think I did, but it was a bloody lonely place to be. It was hay fever. It was a tough time. And back, my mate Willie Morning, he was based down in Otago being a student, and they used to have fantasy rugby for NPC.
Oh, yeah. I remember playing it.
Yeah, so that game, negative 17. And my mate Willie had told all his friends at university, this guy's cheap, he's going to
get you the points, captain him.
Yep, yeah, and he got negative 17, and he's never let me forget that.
Oh, what's that moment like when you're throwing your dart after you won from 7 or whatever it is?
It was tough. It was actually really tough because there you think this is an opportunity, and you go out there, and after the game, some of the older guys were really good.
Yeah.
Just quiet, went home, but that happens. It's rugby and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was in that hole, and young hookers do struggle. You looked at like Kevin Milano and Andrew Hall, and I remember games that you didn't want the ball to go out.
Yeah.
And that's a real bad mindset to be in.
Yeah.
So in the end of my career, I didn't really care. Backs knocked the ball on all the time, so why do I care if I miss the odd line out? So I think my mindset changed a little bit. And I worked a lot harder too later in life at my line because it's never a strength of mine. Like Jared Hawata would say that all the time. Craig Clark, Jason Eden, full Tito. But so that it was pretty upsetting at the time. But then you just had to go away and work on it and talk about the blue and the red and staying in the now, not letting that, like goal kickers and stuff. You just got to bin it, move on.
Yeah.
And in the younger years, it was quite tough.
Yeah.
To be honest, to handle that and go, it's only one bad thing, and I let it get to me, and I was just gone that real bad cycle down.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting, eh? It's common. Like most hookers that I've had on here have that moment somewhere throughout their career where they're in this spiral and not sure how to get out.
Yeah, and so, but then at the end of the season, you get used to playing NPC. Like you go to club rugby into NPC to Super and All Black, and it's a massive step up every next level. And so when you get used to playing at that speed, everything comes out easier. So the end of the career is a lot easier. But as a young guy, it was tough.
Yeah. So what's the next move? How do you end up in the Naki?
Yes, I played one game in 2003, and I knew and it wasn't. It's funny when you come through the academy stuff, and it's pretty serious, and you start losing. You can lose a little bit of love for the game.
Yeah.
And I remember having a period, and I had a conversation with Hori at the time, saying I'm not really enjoying this rugby, and so I went back and played some club rugby, and I was like, sort of, Perrin come down to Christchurch. He was playing.
DP. Yeah.
And so 2004, we were playing, and he was starting a lot more than I was, and just I wasn't, fitting the love and wasn't really out of the system. And then I was playing for Canterbury Bees, and Neil Barnes had some footage.
Yeah.
And he saw me playing because back in the old days it was quite good. So that all the provinces had a B team, and you'd follow the A team around. So you'd fly everywhere. It was awesome. So it was fantastic for a young rugby player. Playing for Canterbury. Anyway, so Barnes had seen a game and saw me playing for Canterbury Bees, and he goes, "Oh, gee, I like the look of that kid." And so he got some footage, and they sent it up, and he's watching it, and he goes, "Oh, don't know about this. Don't know about this." And then he realised that I wasn't the starting hooker; I was a reserve hooker. So he goes, then he started. And then he thought that was quite good. And another player really caught him eye. There was this hard-working number 6, long blonde hair, quite skinny, running around. He goes, "Who's this guy? He must be from the back blocks of North Canterbury, Shearer." Saying it was old Jared Hoyata.
Oh yeah.
And I said, "No, he's the opposite of a Shearer, a white Shearer from North Canterbury." So I ended up. And then Andrew Hall rang me up and said, he was playing with Taranaki at the time.
Oh yeah.
Player, and he goes, "Oh, what do you think about coming up?" So I got some footage and sent up to Barnsley, and then I flew up. Had a catch up with Barnes at his place, and I said, "Yeah, pretty keen. I was pretty keen to come up, but I need a job as well because you get, I think it was 12 grand or whatever it was."
Oh, was it? True.
Pretty keen to come up, but I need a job, and so I got a job at Ravensdown, and that was a great job selling fertiliser to farmers. So I came up on a 3-year contract. Originally, I said to my wife Paula, I said, "We'll go to Taranaki 3 years, and that'll be it.
Yeah,
and we'll go back."
Look at you now.
20 years later, still here.
So you'd signed for 3 years, but the contract was, what, a 12 grand contract per year?
Yeah.
Far out, that's low, eh?
Yeah, something like that. And then, but the good thing was, after the first year, it was only a letter, I looked at the contract again, it was only a letter of intent.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, hang on here." So I rang up, who's the Players Association boss?
Rob Nichols.
Yeah, Rob Nichols. I rang up Rob. We were pulling across the road. "Rob, I've got this letter. Is this a proper contract?" He goes, "No, it's not a proper contract." So I rang up the CEO at the time and said, and then I renegotiated a new contract for 3 years, and it was like 20 grand. Clocked it. And I've actually still got them, the contracts in the cupboard somewhere.
Oh, you've kept them all, just in case.
Just in case.
And you loved it once you came up here?
It was awesome. Born and bred here, and it helped because I still had family and friends and all that side of things. And then I had to choose a rugby club. So I chose Tukopa Rugby Club in town, which is my good mate Koritama was playing for them, so I joined that club. And the first or second or third game we played Inglewood, which was my club I played up when I was going through.
Yeah.
And coming through the years, and gone in the crowd. My wife was in the crowd watching, and they were yelling, "Get that traitor! Get
Oh,
that
yeah.
traitor!" and just into me, just abusing me.
Did they get you?
Nah, they were pretty tough. England had a pretty tough forward pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up, dirty buggers.
And were you playing much for Taranaki at this time?
So I had a 3 contract, and then it was the Lions tour,
Oh,
2005. So I remember the phone call. So Kieran Crowley said, "Hey, you've missed out on this team."
Yeah.
And I said, "That's fine, Colt. I'm here to crack NBC." And they went with all the local boys, and I thought that was awesome. And good on them. Like, the local guys been here, and I said, "That's fine. I'm not here to make that. I'm here to make the NBC team."
Yeah.
And so luckily enough, I was in the side. I came off because Andrew Hall was playing that year,
Yeah.
and he'd only come off for blood bins. Luckily, it was every second game. Yeah, so I just Hori would play 70 whatever minutes, and I might get a little 5 or 6 minute little blat here or there.
Yeah. And were you happy with that, or?
I was actually, yeah, I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Because Andrew Hall, he was an All Black at the time, about to become an All Black. He'd been All Black and tough competitor,
Yeah.
aggressive, old school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Similar to you.
No, he was more old school than me, I reckon. He's next level old school. He's a boomer. I'm more sort of Generation X.
So then you, somewhere along the line, you end up in Auckland with the Blues.
Yeah, so I think, when was that? So 2008, got a the old days was you used to have 28 contractor players, and the franchise had the first dibs on the local players. So if
Yeah.
you're Taranaki, anyway, and then you go into a bit of a pool. Anyway, and so I was surprised. I got a phone call or a message from someone saying that they wanted to be in the wider training group in the Blues, and I find that I found it interesting at the time because they had, Auckland, you had Northland, you had North Harbour. Why would they
Yeah.
want this 27, 28-year-old then?
Yeah.
Based out of Taranaki. So I signed up for it. I think it was 22 grand wider training contract.
Oh, true. So you're 28, so you'd played, you must have been starting at this point for the Naki.
Yeah, I had a good season,
Playing
maybe
well.
07,
Oh, yeah.
08. Must have been all right. Some must have seen one game. Because and the head coach up there was the Australian guy who went to Ireland. Anyway.
No Sephora.
Yeah, that's it. He was the coach.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy. So I went up there, and so I think I made it. I had to resign from my job at the Ravensdown. So
Oh, yeah.
I said, this is my dream. We had 2 kids, and one, Robbie, was on the way. And I said to my boss, I want to take 6 months leave without pay. He goes, no, you can't do it.
Oh,
And I thought, here's my only chance to play Super Rugby. So I resigned. And so I'm 21 contracts. I didn't think about the ramifications too much. So here's my chance. I'm chasing the dream. My wife was very supportive, all amazing.
yeah.
And so I went up to Auckland. They were training at the Welltech University, not university, but one of the places up there. And I thought, made it. I've cracked. This is how awesome is this. I'm in the Blues, and these Kevin Milama and then all the superstars I've got there, and accommodation. So I thought, this is awesome. I'm going to go out there. Got all my gear, big bag, all this kit, Blues. Made it. I've clocked life. And then the accommodation was in the university section, university halls, in a 4-person flat. And there was still two students in there. Had a single bed.
Your family obviously didn't come up.
No, they couldn't
stayed
come in there. No, so there I go. I'm in this student flat. I remember the first night. I'm in this room. I rang Paul and I said, "I'm in a bloody student flat. There's 4 on site. A couple of international students. I've made it." It was. I couldn't believe it. And there I was.
Was that normal, or?
I'm not sure. I don't know. It's just funny. Like, I think Mike Coleman sort of tells the same stories around when he was on my couch and stuff. And it's just as a battler, and you're working through, you think you made it, and you're training with All Blacks and all these superstars, and you got all these, and we're on site. So at night, I'd walk back down to the changing area where the kitchen and everything's down where we'd train.
Yeah.
On Sky, and sit there and go and make protein shakes and stuff like that.
Was there no one else in the wider squad, or were they all local?
They were all locals.
Yeah,
true. So it wasn't like what it developed into. It changed the game. I found talking to a few of the boys in Taranaki went down for the Hurricanes wider training group. There was a large amount of group and stuff like that. So it was just, There was a few other guys, little local boys, and sort of everyone sort of kept to themselves and stuff like that.
Yeah, and no one got injured again, so you didn't get an opportunity.
No, it wasn't because I didn't have to be up there every week. It was a funny one. I went and did all the pre-season.
Just the pre-season.
I did all
contracts.
the pre-season.
Oh, yeah.
So I did all the pre-season. Because I was living in Taranaki, they said you could go back home and come up every so often. So I didn't really come up that much. I did all my training back down there, but by then I would stay at my sister-in-law's place.
Oh.
And the Woodman's family, actually, because my sister was living with she married a Woodman from far north, which is old Portia's family and stuff. So I'd stay there the whole time and stuff when I was back training, and then off I go. So, yeah, it was interesting.
And then the next opportunity was that one at the Canes.
Yes, because I'd made the so I think 2009 Coops was coach. He rang me up to see if I was keen to go wider training group again.
Oh yeah,
and I had a job at the BNZ. So by then I'd had the job at I resigned from that, young family. Wife had Robbie, and I was like, geez, I can't, mortgage, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
so
mortgage, 3 kids,
under 5. My wife wasn't working, maybe looking after the kids. She was in pay. She was working very, very hard, very hard, and then I had opportunity wider training again with the Hurricanes, and I was like, oh, but he's done that. I'm 20, getting a bit long in the tooth.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until, I don't know who actually rang me. I think so in 2011, they changed the rules around. They expanded the squad size.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when they had to have, it was just 35 or 33, and you had to have 3 contracted hookers and 3 contracted.
Okay.
So that's when I sort of, here's my opportunity.
This is official. I'm not going to stay at a uni hall now.
Yeah, I've made it. Absolutely made it now. Look out. So Mark Hammett rang me up. I'm pretty sure it's Mark Hammett.
Full circle there, too.
Yeah, because I played with Mark. It was pretty cool, actually. I think you had the two and just wanted a good guy who could train and keep everyone honest. So
yeah. And then do you move the family down for this one?
No. Well, if I'd signed a 2-year contract, we would have both come down, maybe. But it was a 1-year contract. I'm getting long in the tooth, and then so I lived with old Mr. Coelho and Jack Lamb and Moo lived in our couch. So.
What was that at the famous Tory Street flats?
Yeah, no, that was actually up the hills at Roseneath, up the hills, one of Terry Peacel's houses.
Oh, yeah.
He we lived in there and stuff. So, and so my wife would bring the kids down, and I'd stay down the whole time. That she'd come down and visit and stuff, and so we had to kick Moo out of his bed for our kids to sleep on the couch. And
how'd you find it? Especially living with, I guess, Lowie. Lowie's, as we've heard on Chris Eaton's one, special character.
But he'd injured his knee, so I think he just come down to get away from the family yourself. And never saw Jack. He was upstairs. He never saw him. He would play himself into the ground and could barely walk, and then he'd disappear, and then he'd front up the next week. Yeah, he was tough, man. He was tough.
Yeah, man, this is a tough flat, actually. Yeah. Jack Lamb, one of the toughest. Cal Lowe, one of the toughest. And Frank the Tank, one of the self-acclaimed toughest men to ever play the game. And then you've got Mo on the couch, who was also pretty tough.
He was tough. So, no, I can't even compare with those two boys. Me and Moo pretty even, but those two boys are a bit tougher. It was classic.
But you would have just loved it, being away from the... Well, your wife's up here slaving away with the 3 kids. You're out on the piss every weekend, planking on ironing boards.
Planking, when that was a thing, yes. Ironing boards don't hold your body weight very well, so you can't plank on them, I found out early on the piece on a quiet Wednesday night.
Was that when planking was like the fashionable thing today?
It was quite cool for about a week, I think, but I'm always sort of person that drags it out for a lot longer. When it's so not funny, I'll still do it, and I'm laughing and no one else. Like, take me.
And you're, 33 at this, just trying to stay relevant.
Yep, that's me. I've still got all my kit too. All my kit. I put it on occasionally, walk around the house.
Oh, so good. And then obviously you trained hard that whole year.
It was good. I enjoyed it. I'm a good trainer, so I enjoyed it. I knew that where my position was. I've got Andrew Hoare, 80-odd Test match legend. You got a young Dane Coles who's going to be an All Black, or the following year he was. So I got injured early. And it was the seasons were a bit shorter, and you didn't really rotate the squads as much. And
I was going to say, like, it's so rare now for third hooker not to play? You're
Oh.
usually looking at fourth and fifth just in case because
Well,
there's that many injuries.
Well, like a couple of years ago, Hurricanes had 12 hookers or something.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that
that's
was
right.
outrageous.
You would have had the phone call, did you?
Mate, I was keen. I said, I think Colesy, I've got a couple of tea. I'm available. My boots are going around. But yeah, it's just a competitive sport. Like, it's real brutal. The clean out, the breakdown, the injuries,
Yeah.
everything else like that. So that was it was an enjoyable year. I would have wanted a few more games. I would have loved to come back the next year or something like that. But it was a 1 year done and dusted.
Yeah, was that their decision? Just
Yeah, I think so. But then
I'd seen enough.
And I think
the
Dave-
7 minutes. You didn't do enough in that 7 minutes.
I think David Hall came up the next year. And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
crazy. He's a good man. We laugh about it as well.
One battler for another.
Yeah, I think maybe they could only have one in the team, and he was a bit younger, so maybe they went for the new younger battler.
And did you go down to the Crusaders?
So this is 2013 now. So I was finished up in Taranaki 2012, and my knees were playing up. I've got plates in both my knees. I've got no torn meniscus, and I need knee replacements. And so my knees are giving me a lot of grief. And I knew there was some, it was a time I wanted to go out on my own terms.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get the old tap. Hey, Laurence, good time to announce that I'm getting out on my own terms. So I stood up and said after we lost to Canterbury in a semi-final, I think. Yeah, and I said that was done and dusted. So next year I was just playing club rugby, running around, and then
Yeah.
I got a phone call actually. Laurence, we want you in the Crusaders. Bullshit. No, you don't. Who is it? No, I'm serious. It's we want you to come down into the Crusaders. No. Then I went through. Is it Johnny? Who is this? No, I think it was either Todd Blackadder. I think it was Todd Blackadder. He goes, no, it's Todd Blackadder. I want you in the Crusaders. I said, I'll just ask my wife. So I hang up, ring my wife back. Paula, Crusaders want me to come down.
Full contract.
No,
Wider.
for 1 week.
Oh, 1 week.
And I said, my knees are no good and all this sort of stuff. She goes, can you get through a week and play a game? Yeah, I can do that. Go down. So they flew me down, went down, they got all the kit because John Miles, Foxy, great guy.
Yeah.
Is he still involved?
Yeah, he is still going.
Foxy.
Yeah, absolute champion.
He was my manager for the Canterbury Bees in 2003 and absolute legend. Great
Yeah.
guy. So I go down there and I get the full kit. I'm there for 1 week and he is just going through, do you want this? Do you want this? So I've got all the Crusaders kit. And then, because who got injured? Corey Flynn. Corey Flynn got injured for a change. And then Ben Fennell was also injured.
Oh, yeah.
But he came right. He's a tough bastard. So he came right, and then they said, "Oh, you don't on Thursday you're no longer needed, so you fly back." So I had a 1 week in the Crusaders, and then about 6 weeks later, I got a phone call, and they said, "Oh, Cody Taylor's just injured. Do you want to come down for the rest of the season?" It was like 6-7 weeks, and I said, "Oh, I'd love to," but my brother-in-law was getting married in England, would pay for everything,
Yeah.
and I said, "Oh," so I said, "I'd love to, but."
Would you have got a cap? Did you ever work that out?
No, I didn't. I just made the decision on that spot. Didn't even talk to anyone.
Fair enough.
If I was 10 years younger, 100% I would have said, sorry, not going to the wedding, tough.
Yeah. And was that you done? You were officially done?
Officially done and just played club rugby because I've cut out myself.
Yeah.
So
How long did you play club rugby for?
I actually played a game this year
Did you?
with my son.
Oh, that's
He was
cool.
back from university. So Jackson, the oldest boy, has dislocated his shoulder 3 times already. So he's out for the year. And then Sam's the second one.
How old's Sam?
Sam is 18. He was down in Dunedin doing health science. And he came back and we played senior thirds.
Wow, that's cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
One of my highlights.
Yeah,
One of my
yeah.
highlights of my rugby career, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
How'd you go?
I was better than him. I ran past him a couple of times. And then he played the following week, and I couldn't because I was away. And he scored a great try, he reckons. He told me. So it was awesome. He was a big kid, but he's lost a bit of weight because he's not enough training or something. I'm not too sure, but it was awesome. It was a great. I've got a great photo on Facebook with him, me and him. Just it was a really cool moment. So the next year, I'm pretty keen to play with the other ones when they.
True.
Yeah. I enjoy it because I do jiu-jitsu and stuff,
Yeah.
and that keeps you hardened. you
Yeah.
know. I just don't.
I've heard you're pretty good at jiu-jitsu too, actually. Came in a fair bit in the questions. Taranaki champion, many would call you.
No, I am average to poor.
Oh, yeah.
But
Just love it.
It's such a crazy sport. Like Chris Eden's a keen jiu-jitsu man as well. It got into it a few years ago and stuff, and it's a crazy sport. but
Yeah.
it's so humbling.
Yeah.
Like I suck. When I first got in there, you just suck, and these guys that you should just push around, they just dominate you, and you tap, and you like hyperventilate, and you feel like you're gonna die, and you tap to pressure, and you're like, it's the worst feeling. And then after 6 months, you suck a little bit less,
Yeah.
and then you roll with someone who's a complete beginner, and you're like, oh, I'm not so shit after all.
Yeah.
And then you're shit again. It's you're just gonna be so humble.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
It's a good sport. It's fun.
So your transition, like obviously you had your work, you were always sort of working away at the background. Did that make your transition easier?
I think it did, because I always had, like when I was playing NPC, I was always working full time.
Yeah.
I had a full time job, and while everyone else is sort of on their days off, they would go to Crowd House, play golf and have coffees and stuff. I'd go to work.
Yeah.
And in between trainings, and I think trainings are probably even harder now, then I would go to training in the morning. I'd go to the office for 2 or 3 hours because you couldn't really work from home because the systems weren't so good like they are now. So I'd go and I'd work in between. So for me, I just did my job full time instead of 8 months of the year.
Yeah, far out.
So, and I was lucky enough at my job at BNZ with the boss and stuff I had, that I got paid a salary for the year. So not the full rate, but enough to discount down that it was worthwhile doing both.
Yeah.
So I was very lucky. I don't think other organisations now could do both.
Yeah.
'Cause you can't build and play rugby, get paid for building when you're not there. So I was pretty lucky, and that's what allowed me to keep playing, I think, as well.
Oh, that's cool. And obviously because you were still playing club, you didn't lose the whole camaraderie,
No.
social aspect that you lived
It was awesome.
for, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that was the best part. And that's where I ended up sort of dropping down into playing, and then player coach, and then straight coaching in my club rugby,
Yeah.
and did a bit of rep coaching as well, and that was sort of a little bit of a dream for a little bit. Then I realised I can't watch 10, 15, 20 hours of rugby. I'll watch
Yeah.
it once, and that's enough for me. And
Yeah.
Jimmy, in your role and stuff, how much rugby you watch?
Yeah.
No.
You got to love it.
I love it, but not that much. One game, 1 hour, that's enough.
But you somehow, like, there's 4 sort of things that you did post-footy that I want to get through, and one of them's obviously the CEO. Like, you became the CEO. You talk about coaching, but CEO's a big role.
Yeah, it was with COVID and everything. It was pretty tough. You got into that role, and I love rugby, and so rugby was and I thought, I'll combine rugby with a job, full time.
Yeah.
And it probably got where I couldn't escape rugby. Like rugby, when I played rugby and I had work, I could escape both to the other. But when it was rugby full time, you just had no escape. And it was a pretty tough time, COVID. You had all those other issues going on with the rugby side of things and the funding. And so it became probably a bit too much in the end.
Did you expect to get the role, or like how did you get the role?
Yeah, because I was at the BNZ working, and then the job came up to the commercial role for part time. So not part time. So I jumped into that for 3 or 4 months, and then because the CEO had left mid season, so I got on there, helped out the commercial side of things, and then put my name in the hat for the CEO role.
Yeah.
So I did that for a couple of years, and it was interesting. We had COVID, we had some financial. It was in a bit of financial stress because the stadium had fallen down, so the income had dropped. But luckily that's now the stadium's up and running by next year, and it's starting to, Mike Sanders doing a great job there as well. So it's starting to build up. But so it was interesting. So I did it for a couple of years, and it wasn't going to. It's a tough gig, like talking to other CEO roles. It's you're so many stakeholders.
Yeah,
you've got your professional arm, you've got your club rugby, you've got the junior rugby, you've got secondary school rugby, you've got the female rugby stuff as well. There's so many different paths, and you just have to keep everyone moving forward in a direction.
Yeah. So did you choose to walk out, or did you just sign? Because you did it for 2 years.
I did a couple of years. Had a job.
Hung in there.
Got a job at that. I had opportunity to go to banking, and that's a lot less stress, and a lot less stress.
Was the heart attack around this time?
Oh, yeah, the heart attack. Shit, that was about 6 months later.
Was it?
Yeah. So I'd been sore I do stupid things all the time. So I was doing CrossFit in the morning, and I was doing jiu-jitsu at night. So I'd done the 75 hard during.
What's that?
See, it's a thing where you do exercise twice a day and you follow a diet. And I dropped, so 113 kilos, 114 kilos at the start of the year, and I dropped down to about 100. So I lost some weight, and I was training hard, and I was doing all this sort of stuff.
Would have thought that would have been good for your heart.
Well, I think so, because I got in a position. So doing all this training, me and Paul had done a half marathon 2 weeks beforehand.
Oh yeah,
and then all of a sudden we did some heavy lifting, maybe some squats in the morning, And I felt really tired the next day. Like, oh shit, I'm tired. I was up, we were playing rugby, first doing coaching up at Wesley, and I was feeling a bit tired and not 100% energetic. And then we jumped in the van, and my wife, like she does, she jumped in the van and she drove it up, 100 metres up the road. And I jogged up, run to jump in the van, and I was like puffing like I'd just done 100-metre repeats or something. This is weird. Got in the van and I fell asleep in the car and got home and feeling really tired, and then went to sleep, woke up the next morning not feeling 100%, but said I'll go to jiu-jitsu. And off I go, and then I start warming up, and I'm absolutely stuffed, like just warming up, feeling really tired, sweating. This is weird. Do my first 5 or 6 minute roll, and then all of a sudden I feel this bit of a pain in my chest. I was like, this is weird. What's happening here? Oh, yep. Had another roll, and it was getting worse. I thought, shit. So I sat down next to one of the boys, and I was just sitting there, and instead of getting better, it was feeling worse and worse. And shit, I'm having a heart attack. So I get up, grab my stuff, didn't say goodbye to anyone, jump in the car. I rang my wife.
How'd you know? Just because?
When you know what it's like. When you push yourself for fitness, you know what tired is. You know what exhaustion. You know you've done pre-season. It sucks. This was a pain I'd never felt before, and it was in my chest. And I thought, this is weird. So I rang my wife and said, "Hey, I'm having a heart attack." And she goes, "No, you're not. You're not." She had a list on. I picked up my phone, had a list. Can you please go and buy some sweet treats and all this sort of stuff? I was like, I'm having a. No, you're not. Yeah, I'm having a heart attack, and I was only about 2 minutes away from home, so I jumped in my car, a bit silly, shot up home, got to the car, and she ran down, and I fell out of the car. I said, "Mate, I'm having a heart attack. This is so sore." And she went to ring the ambulance, and I can see the hospital. I said, we haven't got fucking time. We need to get there. So we jump in the car. And I'm yelling because it's just getting pressure, it's just getting worse and worse. Like it's in a vice and it's just cranking slowly. And like, this is
right on the heart,
right in the middle. And so we get there, we jump out, I run past. It was still during the COVID times where you had to put a mask on. And I ran past. I'm not putting up with this stuff. And I said, "Hey, Laurence Corlett, 43 at the time. I'm having a heart attack." Boom, straight into the room, straight in the machines. My wife had gone park. She walked in. I had like there's 10 things I put on your chest. Bang, bang, bang. They go, "Okay, Laurence, just try and control your breathing. You're having a heart attack." Like, that's crazy. We need to give you these drugs to help clear the blockage and all this sort of stuff. Yet no worries. And then my wife's there now. She comes up to me, heart attack, and it was getting worse. I was like, "Oh, geez, I can't control this." And I said, I just felt it's called impending doom, and think bad's going to happen. I said, "I really love you, Paula." And then all of a sudden, I go blue, beep, lights out, gone, Don.
You're gone.
Cardiac arrest. Heart stops.
Oh.
And so my wife's there going, "Holy shit," and they just go bang. And they start getting the chest compression going. Get on the chest, start pumping away. And they do that for 2 or 3 minutes, and they shock me. Boom. And they start, any heartbeat, nothing. Okay, we'll do it again. So off they go on the chest compressions. And my wife's in there, and they start going, "Come on, Frank, come on, fight more." Wife's in there going, "Shit. Woody lost, my brother died a few years beforehand, and it's not going to happen again."
Yeah.
Bang, they shocked me again. Bang. Nothing. Okay, shit. And they start working away. And during this time, they're all yelling and stuff at me, and breathe, fight, whatever. And I remember seeing Paula, and the next moment, it's all black. I'm wherever I am, it's all black. And I'm like, shit, this is weird. Why is it all black? I can't see anything. I saw my wife before and I was in hospital. Now it's pitch black. And there's a little dot in front of my face. I'm like, shit, I need to get out. I need to get in here. So I remember, it's clear as day, I'll take this to my grave and I'll put my fingers in this hole and I just muscle out like an elevator. I'm like, everything I can do to get through. The next thing I remember, I'm looking into the eyes of the guy on the chest. And he's just finished. I've got the plastic things on my face and I'm like, wow. And then after a couple of minutes, I'm calmed down and everything's all calm and peaceful and everyone's sort of, and it took me a couple of minutes later to find it. And they told me what happened and
Far out.
Cardiac arrest.
That is crazy.
And then they, about 10, 15 minutes later, I'm in a helicopter in Hamilton. so the time I got home, 2 hours in the Hamilton Hospital in the A&E, and they're parked up, and then they go through, and I had a SCAD, so a spontaneous coronary artery dissection. So I tore my artery.
Yeah.
Starts blocking, the blocks heart attack, and then the cardiac arrest happened after that.
How long was that process from when you first felt the pain? I always thought heart attacks were quite quick, but that sounded like it went for like almost a night and then a day. And
It was more just feeling really tired.
Oh, yeah.
The pain happened at about 10:30.
oh yeah,
And I was at hospital by about 11, quarter to.
okay.
And then cardiac arrest about 15:15.
Far out.
And then in the helicopter, I was in hospital in Hamilton at 1:45.
Okay. And you were out for, what did you say, 3 minutes?
Probably about 7 or 8.
Oh, 7
Yeah,
minutes. Right.
and 10% survival rate for cardiac arrest.
Is it? And you vividly remember pulling apart the
Yep.
black
Yeah,
little hole.
There was just a little white dot, and I just stuck my hand in here and just muscled out it.
Were you seeing that from third person, or were you in that moment?
I was in the moment.
You could see your hands
It was
pulling
black. It was all black, and I'm like in my head, I'm like going, why is this black? I saw my wife just before. This is weird.
Yeah.
And you hear, when you're playing sport, people cheering and yelling. You don't hear words. You just hear cheering,
Yeah.
and that's what you hear. You hear this noise. I'm like, this is, and I need to get out of here, and then just muscle through, and then
Jeez. Do you reckon if you didn't do that, you'd be dead?
potentially. Yep, potentially could have been. Because I said I was worried about having another heart attack or cardiac arrest in the flight up to Hamilton, because it does happen.
Yeah.
And the doctor said, no, you're right, because you're young-ish.
Yeah.
You're fit and you're a fighter. And I
Yeah.
thought that gave me good confidence. And then I just tried to stay calm on the flight up to Hamilton. It's a crazy
that
story.
must have been scary for Paula.
Oh,
man.
it was.
That's
She's
a
tough.
nightmare.
She is tough, man. She is an absolute trooper.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you'd lost your
Yeah.
brother 2 years earlier. So.
Yeah, but he passed away in 2015. So he's a farmer. He's a real staunch Taranaki man. Loved it. Like I moved to Northland, I supported Northland.
Yeah.
I was the tunny farm man. Loved the tunnies, but he never gave up. He
Yeah.
never lost hope. He loved Taranaki. And so when he was in Christchurch on the dairy farm, he painted one of the silos yellow, amber, and black.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so poor bugger. So they held the farm, and he was out driving a spreader in the hills out out in the hills anyway, and just jumped out, I think, and then they ran over him, the poor bugger.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, spreader driver out of the one of the farms out there.
Man.
Yeah, tough.
Yeah.
But hard for mum and dad.
Yeah.
Hard for the family.
How old was he?
35,
Oh.
wife, couple of kids.
Yeah.
She was pregnant at the time.
Oh,
Yeah, brutal. Life.
yeah. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, really gutted for my parents.
Yeah.
Really tough on them. And just because you start reflecting, you think about what he's missed out on.
Mm.
His daughter's growing up, and his wife Jen and stuff. So you're going to reflect a little bit on what he's missing out. Like with Christmas, we'd catch up for Christmas, and
Yeah.
I imagine for Christmas here cracking a few beers and
Yeah.
telling shit jokes. And that sort of stuff. You just think that's shit,
Yeah.
but that's life as well. It's shit sandwiches.
Yeah.
So
I feel like because you're basically dead for 7 minutes. What do you reckon? Where do you reckon you go?
it's interesting. I've been reading a few books and stuff.
Have you?
Yeah, and
Fascinates me that.
It is interesting because I also dealt with psychologists as well afterwards, because you're dealing with death and you get a bit angry and stuff, like what I would have had to ripped off.
Yeah.
You don't want to go, oh yeah, I lived, but it's all the stuff that I would have missed out myself. So you get but oh, you bastards,
Yeah.
a little bit as well, because I've got 3 boys, Jackson, Sam, Robbie. They're great guys. We laugh. My son will ring me up and say, I've got a joke to tell you. And then you'll disappear. That's it. Bye. What are you? Hey. So it's just missing out on being an old man.
Yeah.
That would annoy me. Sitting back and you're just having a beer and talking shit.
Yeah.
So
Is there anything you have to do now to keep?
well, I'm on blood thinners,
Oh yeah.
and I went through to the Auckland University. My sister's a nurse, or was a nurse, and she said this is a really good program to go through, because it wasn't like an older man person with smokes and poor diet and all that sort of stuff. It's
Yeah.
just it's 80. So SCAD's 80% happen to females. So 20%.
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
quite uncommon for men to have them, and usually it's young active people that are just doing too much, and it can be a sign from stress or just childbirth and other things. I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Too much.
So
I'm
what
blood
what was it for you? Too much exercise.
I think I was probably doing I was doing heavy squats, and then I was doing devil presses, which weights you drop
Oh,
into
yeah.
your butt overhead, and it was
okay.
like heavy. And I remember pushing heavy weights for me. But yeah, I think I was just doing too much weights.
I'm safe then. No heavy squats.
So I did this stuff through Auckland University, and they did I called it a return to play. and did all this testing. And so
Yeah.
the last bit of testing was on a bike, the VO2 max test, had the breather on,
Yeah.
had the heart monitors on, had all this stuff, and I just ripped the guts out of it. Got my heart rate up to 180 odd, and they said, "Sweet, you can."
You're good to go.
The only thing I can't do is lift heavy, like sets of 1 or 2 on the bench press, and where you hold your breath and build pressure.
Yeah.
So I've just got to go high reps now.
So you can still play footy. That blows my mind. Yeah.
And I think it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
I'm on a few scared sort of Facebook groups and stuff, and and a lot of it's fear and stuff.
Yeah.
I can't do. Like, I don't overdwell on things very often, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I just rip back into it. Like, I did a period of time, then I'm back to jiu-jitsu and all that, and just breathe. That's the key.
Keep breathing. Do you breathe? Is there anything you do breath-wise?
No, when it's actually funny, I always go to a doctor once a year before on my birthday and do the blood tests and stuff. So I went and saw a breath person here, and she was quite good about belly breathing and stuff. And sometimes I'm a bit in the chest.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I do a little bit, not as much as I should. So
Man, what a story. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you about before I'll post your footy was reality TV. Where does this fit in, and how do you end up on My Kitchen Rules, wasn't it?
everyone thinks I'm in the what's the other one? My Kitchen Rules and
MasterChef.
MasterChef. I said no, I'm not on that one. MasterChef. I was putting a hungy down at school, and with one of the dads, and he goes, "Oh, thinking about putting go on My Kitchen Rules. Are you keen?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'll be keen." For me, life's an adventure.
You're a yes man.
I am. I get myself in trouble often because I've got other friends who will say no to everything, and they do one or two things. I'm always up for an adventure.
Yeah.
Life's short. You just go and do it. And so what's the worst that could happen? So yeah, I jumped on board and signed up for it. Went through a bit of a process. You had to get interviewed online, and then you talk and stuff, and then we got selected, and it was fun. Like
Both of you?
Yeah, cause you're as a peer. You go in as a group, and you do your shit, and they talk. Are these people? What I found on it, like there was always the couples. They were thinking that was going to be their big launching pad into something big.
Yeah.
And I was just there just for the ride.
Yeah.
I love cooking, I love eating and all that sort of things, but I knew my quality wasn't going to be top end. But I thought, hey, this is awesome. Why not? Life's short, go and do it. And so that's why we signed on with him, and off we went. And no one bombed, so results were quite good.
Yeah.
But usually in that program, someone burns something.
Yeah.
But I think ours was the highest score to go out first.
Oh, you out first?
Yes, we were out first. And the thing was, we're sitting in there, so you go around the people's houses, and they're actually quite fun because there's some good people on it. And then all of a sudden you go into the first, when all the groups come together and you go through, and then the morning of the shooting, and there was in the coffee room there was a bit of paper down, like a couple of pages, and what's this? Picked it up, so it was the script.
Oh.
So I knew, I went down, hey, Paul, we're going out first. So we had to act like it was this big surprise. And my acting's dog shit. We're like,
Were you happy with how they portrayed you on there? Because obviously they've got full control of the character.
yeah, I think so. I think our group was quite a bunch of just really nice people.
Oh, yeah.
Like there was no arseholes. Like, everyone was pretty. So it didn't make good TV. We're all too nice. You need to have some villains, and we're all just good.
No one wanted to play that guy.
No one wanted to give a 0 or a 1 or anything.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's not going down as one of the most remembered. I don't even remember half of them on it. So,
Did anything come from it?
from other, not sure. Other people may have.
Nothing for you.
No shit. No.
Just a few extra followers.
I did, because my wife did not want to be involved, so she stayed out of everything. So she goes, "This is your journey. I don't want my fate." And so a few people thought that me and Paul were partners. Got that a bit. That was fine. It's all good. But I did get
Paul and Paula.
Just traded her in. And then, but I did get a message from someone from South Africa, from Australia, saying, "I've noticed you haven't got any partner or anything." And Paul, look at this. Delete. So so nothing really come of it. No.
Would you go on another one?
Oh, would I? Yes.
I see Celebrity Treasure Island's coming out soon.
Oh,
It's got you written all over
Yeah,
it.
I'm probably a C grade, D grade celebrity. Yeah. I don't know what I'd go on.
Yeah.
It would be interesting.
But you'd be open to it.
Oh yeah, why not?
Why not? Life's too short. Fight for life.
No way. There's zero chance. I signed up for one of
Jiu-jitsu for life.
those. Ooh, could be.
Yeah.
Against someone else who's
Chris Eaton.
he's a purple belt.
And what are you?
Blue,
What's the rankings? Rank them?
white, blue, purple, brown.
Oh, he's
black.
only one step.
Yeah, but he's
With your weight advantage, I reckon you've got him.
You set it up. No, Chris, he's a
The
he's a
Waterlad
tough.
Jiu-Jitsu night.
I would love to.
With the main event.
I'll go against Moo. No, Chris he's a tough. He was such a tough little bastard, man.
Yeah.
Tough. He is.
God.
So no to. But I did sign up to do. I was going to do one of those local boxing fights.
Oh, yeah.
And then this is about a few years ago now, and I dropped down to 94 kilos, which was
Jeez.
my school weight.
Far out.
It was hard training. I enjoyed it, but and then
Was this before the heart attack?
4 years, probably about 2017.
Oh, yeah.
So 3 or 4 years beforehand. Yeah, so I signed up for that and training 4 times a week and sparring, and it was actually really good fun. But I got down to 94 kilos. Shit, it was skinny.
Yeah.
But then
What are you now?
108, 109.
Looking strong.
A little bit big, but that's
Are you?
Yeah.
What's your ideal weight?
105,
Is it?
104 is sort of my playing weight. I got to 114 when I was in the Canes.
Yeah.
But when I get 114 now, that's big puku.
Yeah.
Not helping. Lucky I've got a big chest that hides the guts. So,
Man. What a story. Jeez, that is one of the greatest. Now, we've gone to the Instagram
Oh,
for
no.
some questions. I think a lot of it's been covered because a lot of them were around some of your stories that you've already told. But one that came up that we haven't touched on is the fight. Obviously, how'd you manage to get 2 guys yellow carded for a fight that you started?
Liam Neeson, Ramona Graham. This is 2010. 2010, I think. No, 2010. I broke my arm after this. So we had a really good start. We were playing good rugby. We were up in front, leading, smashing, and then Waikato second half had scored 2 quick tries, and they had all the momentum. They were going through they were playing awesome. And we're at a line out, and Liam Neeson just reached over and grabbed my jersey. And it's one of my things. I hate people trying to get one over you. Try and stand over you and stuff. And I'm a bit of a meathead at the best of times. And I hate those sort of. And so he grabbed me, and I was like, and I tried whacking his arm.
Yeah.
Whacked it once, wouldn't let go. Whacked it twice. I said, I'm into this. So I just let go and just threw one.
Did you?
Threw it hard. It was a pretty good punch. Bang, hit him, and then it was all on. So everyone just jumped in on me, and then all of a sudden, because back then the referees they couldn't look at the game.
Yeah.
They couldn't actually see. He wasn't allowed to look at the footage on the big screen.
Oh,
They've changed the rulings maybe a year later over it. So the touchies had to say something, and they said those 2 guys started it. Laurence didn't get any. That number 2 got no punches in, and so that's why they both got yellow for fighting. And Liam Neeson, because he's involved with the Chiefs now, of course.
Yeah.
My wife's Paula's the manager for the 20s, and she got to meet him and started yelling away. And she goes, might know my husband. And he was gutted. I think he didn't like that someone gave him a punch.
oh, really?
Now he would give me a hoorah.
Hey, there's our fight for life.
I would go into a fetal position. But it was, and then I hit him pretty well, actually. And I don't think he was happy about it because he didn't get one back on me. And then next week, we're playing Bay of Plenty and going to clean the ball out. And Luke Braid's over the ball. And I come in and just give him the biggest, dirty, swinging arm to his head. And I broke both my bones in my arm.
Oh.
And that was karma for the week
Was it?
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I broke the arm, fell on the ball, got penalised not rolling away.
Arms sideways.
And Luke Braid said, he goes, I'm sorry. So karma got me in the end.
Oh, always will. But you've had a few good card incidents or fights, haven't you, in your footy times?
yeah,
Any highlights?
In club rugby, I seem to get a lot of yellow cards.
Yeah.
10, 15, 20, I think, over my time.
Have you?
Yeah.
Wow.
One of the better ones was me and Jared Hawata.
And that was probably when it was harder to get a yellow. Now you get a yellow for anything. But
Anything. And like you could punch someone or they punched you and you'd get a yellow card. And club rugby, it was fun. Like, so I remember playing against Jared, he was playing with Southern, and he goes up to win the line-out ball, and I go and I do the old sack down, and I choked him, threw him on the ground. And he got up really angry. Like, Jared's an angry man at the best times. His eyes were like this, and he came screaming out of the breakdown and trying to take me out, but he tripped on the ruck and he fell on it. And so I just started stomping him. Wasn't racking, I just jumped on him. I'm into this guy. I'm just stomping him hard. And he got up, his eyes were, all I see was his eyes, and we're like into it. So we were there throwing we're just throwing big haymakers from hell, trying to knock each other out. And luckily the referee blew the whistle up, everyone stopped us, and we both got yellow carded. But if one, and the Daily News actually put that to the old cowboy music, and they put it to that on the Daily News.
Oh, that's like 18 weeks now.
Oh, it was awesome.
Stomping, swinging.
I didn't think about that. It was and we both just laughed about it.
Oh.
But that's it. Like, rugby is a great sport where you can beat up your mate. I have a go at beating your mate up and then shake it and laugh about it.
Yeah. Man. Any more? That's a good one. I know there's a few.
Yeah, I saw her read a bit too much, I think. Another time, there's a guy called James Langton, Batman from the coast, played 220 odd games, absolute warrior. Did a lot of boxing later in his life. He'd run upright, but he was running strong. And one time, so we're having a bit of a dust up, and usually in a fight, everyone stops and everyone calms down.
Yeah.
So we're all having a bang, 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 calms down. And then as soon as we get let go, it starts again.
Oh, yeah.
Bang, 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 calm down. You guys, yep, sweet. And then it just went like that for about, just keep going, because we're two idiots trying to knock each other's heads out. And then we'll yellow carded. You always come back in, you guys good? Yeah, sweet, shake your head and off you go. You don't chase them around. You just, that was that one moment, like, you're aggressive and then you're like, move over.
Yeah.
So.
Old school.
Oh, it was awesome. That's when, like, honestly.
It's why you're still playing, aren't you? You're still chasing, you're still scrapping.
I stopped fights. Like when I played in that senior third game for Tukoba, there was fights for Africa. And I was the one trying to stop the fights for a change, which was I was just
You've grown up.
Maturity at 45. Well done.
Okay. Oh, good start to the questions. Next one was, this came in a few times, but Paul Tito, any relation?
Big fish. And no relation to the Orange Roughy. No. Played quite a bit of rugby with Paul Tito. He played his 100th game. Played the same game. He got his 100th game for against Tasman, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Not in 2006. So no relation to fish. No
relation. No, jeez. Surprising. Okay, is it true you were growing tomatoes to take down the local avocado seller? What's happened here?
Well, that is. I got these seeds, proper tomato seeds, not other types of seeds.
Yeah.
And from a guy connected to the mafia. He reckons he's Sicilian connection. So these were special ones. And so I got them off him, and I did grow a few, and we had the plans of getting bigger, and I planted them, and then we didn't actually have enough to sell. So had big ideas of these real rare random tomatoes, but it didn't get off the ground.
You still got a few, or not?
I've got some seeds to plant out again, so I'll go maybe this year.
Have another crack. Oh, okay. Obviously, the few came in about the jiu-jitsu, but you've gone through there. You're not getting into the octagon
Zero chance.
Okay, this one could be marginal, he says, but ask him what he did with his deceased family cat.
I'll throw it out there, and then you'll decide if it's worth putting up there. So I'm quite frugal. I've been known to be frugal over the years, and so I took this cat was. The cat was old, 14 years old, and so I took it to the vet and put it down, and they were going to charge me an extra $30 to get rid of it. I said, no, I'm not paying it. So I took it home and I put it in the bin, the wheelie bin. Yeah, to save you $30.
What do they do with it? Where do they put it?
They probably put it in their wheelie bin. No, I think they can. I don't. I'm not. I think they just put it in some. Shouldn't. So I put it in the wheelie bin and went out in the rubbish, and I told the family I'd buried it.
Just on the top with the tail hanging out.
No, I pushed it down so you couldn't see it. But and I told my wife and kids that I'd buried it and dug a hole. And too much effort.
Oh, that is good stuff. For $30, the things we do. Okay, next one. The biggest battler you've played with.
Oh, geez, there's a path in rugby. I always think Mike Coleman is a great battler. Like he's a good human being, and he's a bloody good battler. They named, I don't know if you saw it, there was this 15 one-cat wonders for Super Rugby. Yeah. And me and Coleman's on that. That's one of my highlights of my rugby
Were you
career.
captain?
I don't know if I was captain. No, would it? Because he captained Hawke's Bay. I never captained Taranaki. I was never in the conversation. I was in the leadership group, but that was sort of Craig Clark running the cut, and we just sat there and talk shit. These modern, I don't want to get me started, but these leadership groups can be a bit of a joke sometimes. But yeah, so I think Mike Coleman's but then there's so many battlers, like David Hall's a good battler.
Yeah.
Chris Eden, he played 20 odd games of Super, so he's
past
he's
it.
Probably past a battler.
Yeah.
I think he's better than a battler. He's probably in that first tier off a battler.
Yeah.
Timmy Dowell, he's a good human being from Northland. He's a good Hook. Yeah, these all those guys that have just touched Super and
Never quite.
Oh, and that'd be great. And these days, you look at the depth now. Like you've got the Super, you've got the All Blacks, but there's a big middle group that they don't have anymore.
Yeah.
And if I was running around now, I'd hope to be in Super for 3 or 4 or 5 years and just be a good training guy and turn up.
100-game veteran.
maybe 5, maybe 10.
Okay, next question. Tell us the story of when you fell asleep in the meeting at Taranaki.
You come to the end of your rugby career when you do this. So we're sitting there. It's a nice sunny day. The sun's streaming through the window. You've got Big Papa Coop sitting up there talking about something. I'm not too sure what it was. It must have been mid-afternoon. I had kids and maybe not sleeping, and I wasn't sleeping. And then it was hot and it was a bit stuffy, and I just closed my eyes for a second. And I used to close my eyes to listen real deep.
This is what you've told yourself.
And I was deep in thought because he was saying some really words of wisdom, and I was like, yeah. And all of a sudden, I fell asleep, and I'm like asleep, and Coop's, Frank. And I'm like, shit. And most other coaches would tell you off and get into you, but Coops was being such a nice, humble human being. He was quite worried.
Yeah.
He talked to Scott Waldrum later on and goes, is everything at home okay with Frank? He knows. And Scott said, nah, get into him, Coop.
Did you get dropped or nah?
If it was end of 2012, then I think my career was on the downslope anyway.
It wasn't for falling asleep in the meeting.
No.
Because I was in the team that year. I remember you falling asleep. I remember him telling you off.
Oh, sorry, Coops. Yep. No. You're saying some really riveting information. I fully believe in what you're saying. It's just hot and stuffy, and you know what it's like sometimes. And geez, team reviews and wasn't the best, to be honest. And video footage and all that, and what they're going to do these days. Back then, I'd watch them a game once, and that was about it. And other guys watch it a million times, and they became a lot better rugby players than I did. But maybe there's a correlation between the two. So, but old Coop, such a lovely human being.
Okay, next one. Favourite facial hair you've ever had?
Yeah, I've got a beard. It's grey now, but beard, moustache, a goatee at university. A goatee.
Oh yeah,
like a real ginger long goatee and big F. Grew his real long curly hair because I worked in the far north on a friend's Kingfisher Lodge. So I washed dishes for 8 weeks and this grew this massive big afro and big goatee, big ginger.
Mate, like it.
Yeah, girls loved it. Yeah.
Okay, last question. Best piece of advice for a Woodlad listener? Yeah.
life's short. Go and do stuff. Push it. Get yourself out of your comfort zone. Do what you love to do, and just try different experiences.
Man, you've done it and you've lived it, haven't you? Like, that's why you went on My Kitchen Rules. You have done everything possible that you've chased. It's been awesome. That's what's made an awesome podcast today, mate. Like, appreciate you coming on. It was awesome having a few brief moments over our careers at Taranaki, and we just missed each other at the Canes, but all the myths and the stories were always told, and you're a legend of the game, and it's been awesome sitting on here and chewing the fat with you, mate.
No, my pleasure, Jim, and that was really fun. Hopefully people got a bit of a laugh out of it, and no, it's great fun. Great to be involved, and thank you very much. And this is an awesome experience.
Mate, you're an absolute lad.